pause of this live broadcast. Now to matters, drought. Over 200,000 people in Kenya's coast region are on the verge of starvation following prolonged drought. Farmers in Kilifi are already bearing the brunt of prolonged drought as their crop continues to dry in the farms. Red Cross says the situation may get worse should the rains fail again this year. Rivers are already drying up at an alarming rate, with environmentalists attributing this to illegal logging and forest destruction. And from Mombasa and Kilifi counties, we head over to Wajir County, where the drought situation is also escalating. Our reporter Hamza Yusuf is on the ground with an update of the situation. Hamza, good morning. I'm clearly on a very good one in Wajir. What more can you tell us about the drought situation?
Well, thank you, Michelle. The drought situation in northeastern, especially Garissa, Wajir and Mandera, is quite bad. It hasn't rained here for the last 3 months, and we are informed that some of the pastoralists have already gone to Somalia to look for water and pasture, especially those who are living the borderline of these two countries. Definitely the schools are affected here. We understand that these are pastoralists. These are people who move from one place to another, and they move with their children and animals. And some of the children were forced to go to Somalia, a country that they have no idea where to start from. So there is a lot happening here, especially how to bring together the community, because sometimes this leads to conflict, especially when they are coming together for this water and pasture. So let me speak to some of the elders from this county. Mzee, karibu sana kwenye KTN News. Ukisonga hivi kidogo, labda tueleze, talk to us about the drought situation here in Wajir.
Yeah, I'm Hussein Adam, a pastoralist, and also an elder who has interest in peace in Wajir. I know the situation currently is not so good, but we cannot talk of crisis. But of course the resources have depleted, and I know there are boreholes around in most of the settlements, but the problem is that because of the overgrazing, the grasses or the pasture have depleted completely, and therefore these forced pastoralists to traverse borders, both international and county borders. And some have crossed to Somalia on the other side, some have gone to eastern region, especially Isiolo and Marsabit counties. And therefore, even where water is available because of boreholes being sunk by the county government currently and before, the problem is that the pasture have depleted, and therefore these people are now forced to migrate to other areas.
Earlier we had a chat with you and you told me that you are a resident of Wajir County, but your animals are not in this county because of the drought. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, of course, I keep cattle, and my cattle have crossed over to Isiolo County around Siricho area. Of course, that area has some shallow wells, and of course the host community have to some extent been accommodative, and my cows are now currently there, and they are okay now. Because Siricho is around the Waso belt, and that is the swampy area, and most of the time the Sislo River brings water, and then the water floods, and because of that the area becomes somehow nourished. Therefore, most of the people want to rush to those areas so that at least that can help their livestock. So I'm also one of the pastoralists who have decided to relocate my cows to that area, and I'm very grateful to Siricho people for being very accommodative and actually allowing us to share with them the mega resources in the area.
Mentioning that resources, sometimes we understand this, lead to conflict between two communities. Especially Wajir, right now we are witnessing such. Do you think this is something that we can overcome if we get rain, perhaps?
Yeah, of course, with rain we can overcome. Because, of course, especially when rain is fairly distributed to all parts of the county and the whole republic. But in most cases, rains normally are not very reliable, and rains are not adequate. And you'll find sometimes rain concentrate in a certain area, and so the animal population also concentrate in such areas. So because of that, people will now try to fight over, and compete over the control and use of those, mega resources. Therefore, conflicts normally come. But sometimes how we can mitigate is when resources actually are depleted in closer areas to the water, spots like boreholes, people will tend to shift to areas, perceived areas where they feel there is some pasture. To mitigate that, then there is need to, water track to those areas, especially to support those pastoralists who cannot actually trek to the water points because of the long distances. Therefore, this normally happens when there is adequate rain, people feel like spreading over and getting resources from, the natural resources from all over. And when for example, during the dry spell, people will shift to perceived, pasture areas. But the county government have, especially of Wajir, have been supporting in terms of water tracking to the areas. The livestock number is so overwhelming, surely, that sometimes an activity like water tracking might not be able to quench their thirst. But there is a need to increase the number of water tracking activities in the area, so that, especially now we are almost the end of February, we are expecting some rains in March, God willing. And therefore, this is a very short time. And normally, pastoralists like me, normally are skeptical, especially like this time. They say when the rains are almost is when the animals now will try to perish. So I'm just appealing to the county government and the national government and other well-wishers to support, especially this time, because this time is just very crucial. When it comes to the issue of, for example, cross borders on peace issues, because of course, when people compete over the use and control of the resources, the conflicts are bound to come up, especially natural resource conflict. So we have cross-border structures, mechanism, both internally and county-wise. So we have that structure that can respond to those conflicts.
Thank you so much,
yes.
Sir. We appreciate your time. That is one of the residents from Wajir, a peace elder here from Wajir County. Michelle, right now what is happening here in Wajir, there is a peace meeting going on between the leaders, because this drought situation has led to conflict among the communities, especially those who live in Elders and also Wajir and North, if I'm not wrong. So a lot is happening here, and they are also appealing to the national government to intervene so that the community or the pastoralists from this region can overcome such situation. Michelle.